Hello and welcome to the newspaper review here on TAV TV. Yes, this is where we get to discuss trending and catchy headlines every day. We get to discuss with people on the street, get to see their reactions and to know what they have to say as regards these headlines making rounds on the papers. My name is Obed Jerry, your host for today. And yes, you can also be a part of the show. If you are yet to subscribe to our channel, please subscribe, turn on your notification button, connect with us across all our social media platforms so that all drop videos like this, you get to receive our notifications. Well, before we discuss with anybody on the streets, let's get first look into the papers and see what the headlines look like. And first, today being Thursday, March 14, 2024, we'll be looking at the Vanguard newspaper for a start. You can see as headline says, CBN resumes agreed funding with 100 billion naira. Details of the story is found on page 19. Igi Mokude returns to access as Holdco chairman. Details is found on page 27. Edo 2024. Shaibu Ojesua challenges Igodalo candidacy in court. Sub-story under that reads, anxiety in APC as court sits over candidacy. Meeting over Agbede Iyama deadlocked. Details is found on page 7. We see how the main story here reads, more controversies over 3.7 trillion naira gap in 2024. Details is found on page 5. You can see here it says Nigeria lifts sanction on Niger, open lands, air borders. Details is found on page 2. Host communities fume over slow implementation of 3% OPEX funds. Details is found on page 12. Kidnapping, no ransom payment to criminal elements, says Tinubu. Details is found on page 9, and that's all be taken on the Vanguard newspaper. And moving on, we'll be looking at the Punch newspaper. We see as headline here reads, federal government restores electricity to Niger, lifts sanction, reopens border. Details is found on page 29. Federal government plans fresh borrowing via Eurobond in June 21. Details is found on page 21. Nigerians lambast accountant general, commissioners over UK workshop. Details is found on page 21. You can see at the main story here it reads 35,000 naira wage award. 30 states default, labor fumes, pensioners threaten protest. Sub-story under that reads Sokoto, Kanu, Benue, Bayelsa not paying. Gombe, Ogun, Osun pay 15,000 naira, 10,000 naira. Details is found on page 2. Miyetti Allah members protest as federal government charges leader with terrorism. Details is found on page 7. Reps summon Dangote, BUA, others over cement price hike. Details is found on page 22. Recovered rivers DPS remain for test, says police. Details is found on page 4 and 5. Navy intercepts boats ferrying crude to Cameroon. Arrests 3. Details is found on page 14, and that's all we taken on the Punch newspaper. And lastly for today, you'll be looking at the Nation's newspaper. We could see a headline here. It reads 4 billion naira fraud. How Obiano laundered Anambra security votes by EFCC. Details is found on page 5. FEC approved 759 billion naira for Obajana, Benin, Isheri Ogun roads. Details is found on page 5. Police recovers remains of DPA Bako in Rivers. Details is found on page 6. Mba constitutes governing council for ASUT. Others. Details is found on page 6. 10 more states paying wage award. Sub-story under that reads, civil servants in 10 Southeast states await payment. Details of the story is found on page 4. NMPCL recorded 9,000 attacks on pipelines in 1 year, says Kiari. Details is found on page 27. We see how the main story here reads, US orders offer assistance to combat kidnapping. Others. Sub-story under that reads, President, we are reviewing proposal. We won't pay ransom. Details is found on page 4. CBN gives farmers 100 billion naira worth of fertilizers. Sub-story under that reads, ministers get 250 million bags from Apex Bank. Nigeria, China partner to boost agriculture. Details is found also on page 4 of the Nation's newspaper. Southern Senators Revive Forum. Details is found on page 3. House of Rep to probe rising cement price. Details is found on page 7, and that's all be taken on the Nation's newspaper. Now let's get to see the reactions of the people on the street. Let's get to hear what they have to say as regards these headlines. Stay tuned. Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like your thoughts on the Punch newspaper. Good cold morning to you, because you see the weather is very cold.
Yes,
That's like other days that we are facing the hot sun.
we thank God for giving us this type of weather. We like it. we like it.
Exactly. And if we are enjoying this kind of weather and we are having electricity, we would enjoy it more.
Yes, because if you have electricity, you have your fan, you have your AC, and other things that help life to exist will be there for Nigeria not to be suffering.
Yes, this brings us to this story on the Punch that says federal government restores electricity to Niger, leaves sanction, reopens border.
Yes, because Nigeria
is more like we've been doing ourselves harm before.
Yes, we are doing ourselves harm because Nigeria does not enjoy 6 hours electricity. Even 3 hours, steady 3 hours. Like Gumokro here, we are staying. You cannot here in Port Harcourt.
And there are even places in this Port Harcourt that have not seen light for up to a week.
Like a Che, where I'm staying, at Chokochu, for more than 6-7 months now.
Wow.
We didn't see lights. And Nigeria is supplying other country lights who enjoy it better than Nigerians. So I will say that Nigeria is doing themselves. Nigeria is doing themselves. You know that you cannot stand on your own. You cannot stand on your own ground. And you are placing sanction on who that fits you. The country that they are happy, even the military government that have taken over, the citizens of those countries, they are rejoicing. They are happy. But look at us. We cannot even say no. We cannot even protest. They will tell us, don't even talk. Don't talk because you don't have right to talk. When you talk, they will use their security agents to chase after you. So let Nigeria begin to do well. Our leaders begin to do well. If the citizens are happy, you see everything will be going very well. Than we are suffering in silence. Nobody wants to talk. If you talk, you will be sanctioned. So
now we could see that reopening this border would help us Nigerians a lot. But you know that some Nigerians overdo this thing. They try to import contraband goods that are damaging our health.
If you say contraband goods, is there no check? Is there no check?
And then these people at the boundaries, these borders, they do turn it to form of businesses, try to extort people that are coming into the country.
That is why there should a serious border guards that will check all those excessiveness in the border. That you are bringing something we don't need, Nigeria don't need. There are people to stop you there. There are people to check you very well and reject it. But in Nigeria, they don't do those things. They don't check. They bring both the good and bad and ugly to us because we are porous. We are very, very porous. And they say they close it. Is it sure? Do they really close it? Or they not be doing business? Do you understand? The good people cannot pass. The good people cannot pass. Whereas the bad elements will bring those things we don't need through those borders. But if they are appropriate people, they are good people that man those borders, they will bring good ones. Not extravagant. Nothing is extravagant. Those things should not even be held in Nigeria that they are bringing bad ones. Where do they come from? Exactly. From those borders that I think we close. No, that is bad.
Now, one last question. This supply of electricity to Niger, do you think it will affect our electricity supply in the country now?
It's already affecting it. It will worsen the whole thing. Okay. It will worsen the whole thing because Nigerians are not enjoying the electricity. What you think we are producing, the only one they think they are producing, the Nigerians are not enjoying it. Whereas you are sending it to other countries, Nigerians are not better, but you want to sell it. So it will even worsen the whole thing. So let us feel fine before we think of giving others. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I would like your thoughts on the Punch newspaper that says federal government plans fresh borrowing via Eurobond in June. In 3 months' time, now we'll see that federal government will be borrowing another amount of money.
It's quite unfair now. Federal government have been borrowing. In fact, since we know this very particular federal government,
even during Buhari's administration,
of which it is like we are enslaved by borrowing. So for me, it's not justified. It's not federal government have no reason to borrow.
But is there any way that, do you think that if they borrow this money, they can use this money, utilize it and invest it, that it will bring you good returns in the country?
Of course, it will go just like the previous ones. So there's no need for borrowing for me. So they should forget about all this borrowing, because it's all about their own benefit and their own benefit.
So you don't believe that they will use the money positively?
No, it cannot benefit us in any positive way.
And another story here says federal government restores electricity to Niger, lifts sanction, reopens border.
Try. It's quite unfair, because even me, as I'm talking to you now, for about 1 month now, I'm out of work because there's no electricity.
I have work you do, you use light.
Yes, my work.
Petrol is too cost.
Petrol is too cost. I cannot power my gen. I can't even afford to buy diesel per liter, talk less of fuel. So the electricity that I'm managing went up for past 1 month now. We have not seen electricity, and federal government is sponsoring in Port Harcourt here, in Port Harcourt, Elumokoro, precisely. So honestly, it's quite unfair. Supplying other countries light, whereas we are suffering for light of here, buying for state. So I think we are marginalized in this very Nigeria. We are very, very marginalized, while other countries are benefiting from our resources.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, this is where we draw our curtains for today. You've heard what has been discussed here. If you have anything to add to it, or you have a very counter opinion, please write to our comment section and drop up your comments. Like I said earlier, if you're yet to subscribe, turn on your notification button, and connect with us across all our social media platforms. This you are doing for us is very important to us, and we would love to see your reactions. Yes, my name is Obed Jerry, your host for today, and this has been the newspaper review here on TAV TV. See you next time.